Part 1. The tape. It was labeled in red marker, "Do not watch," all caps, all underlined. I found the tape in a box of junk my mom dropped off last week. "Stuff from the attic," she said. "I figured you'd want it. It's yours anyway." Most of it was junk. Old school papers, broken walkie-talkies, Pokemon cards with water damage, and a battered stuffed penguin missing an eye. But at the bottom of the box, beneath a pile of faded birthday cards, was the VHS tape. Unmarked except for the words scrawled on the front, "Do not watch." Naturally, I watched it. I had to dig out the old VCR from my closet. Still worked, still blinked 12 o'clock forever. I popped in the tape. It crackled, hissed, then displayed blue screen, then static, then a birthday party, our old backyard. I recognized it instantly. The crooked fence, the sagging patio umbrella, the cheap plastic chairs. I was in the shot, 6 years old, green t-shirt, cake on my face, my parents, my little sister Emily, my cousins. Everyone was there, singing, laughing, candles being lit. It was normal, completely normal, until it wasn't. At first, the weirdness was small. A guest I didn't remember. A boy in the background, wearing all black, no one talking to him. His face was always just slightly turned away from the camera. Then the candles. There were 7, but I was turning 6. I double-checked. There was even a banner, "Happy 6th birthday, Liam." And yet, 7 candles. When I blew them out, the screen flickered. Then the footage rewound on its own. Not smoothly, jagged, like someone was dragging the tape back by hand. It stopped, then played the scene again. Only this time, everyone's smiles seemed forced, tighter. The laughs a little too loud, a little too perfectly timed. And when I blew out the candles again, nothing happened. No flicker, no rewind, just stillness. Everyone frozen for 4 seconds. Then they all turned to look at the camera, at me, simultaneously. No smiles, just wide, open eyes, unblinking. Then the footage cut to black. I sat there, remote in hand, unsure if I'd imagined it. Then the tape resumed. New scene, same backyard. But now it was nighttime. No party, no guests, just me, standing at the fence, motionless, and someone behind me, in the shadows, just tall enough that the top of their head disappeared off screen. Long arms, no sound, no movement. Then I, the kid version of me, turned around and looked directly into the lens and said, "I told you not to watch this." Then the screen cut to static. I hit stop, ejected the tape, held it in my lap for a long time. It was warm, not like old electronics warm, like it had been sitting in the sun. I checked the label again. Same handwriting, still there, "Do not watch." But now, just beneath that, in fainter ink, was a second line I hadn't seen before, written smaller, as if it had faded over time. "If you do, don't rewind." Too late, I already had. I called my mom that night, tried to be casual. "Hey, you remember that box you dropped off?" "Yeah. Find anything good?" "Yeah, there was a VHS in there. Do not watch." "What?" "A tape, black, red marker, says do not watch on the label." Silence. "Liam, I don't remember giving you any tape." "Well, it was in the box." "No, I mean, We haven't had a working VCR in 15 years. I threw all those out. You didn't keep one? No, and I didn't pack that box. I found it in the garage. Sealed. Then where did you say you found the tape again? At the bottom. Was there anything else with it? No, just the tape. More silence. Then, quietly, Liam, we never had your 6th birthday at home. You were sick that week. We canceled the party. I didn't sleep that night. I left the tape out on the table. The next morning, it was gone. In its place, a single photograph of the party. The exact same moment from the video, me blowing out the candles. Everyone smiling, only this time, the boy in black was standing in the front row, and he was staring straight at me. To be continued in Part 2. Part 2, rewind error. The photo was real, not printed on computer paper. Real photo paper. Glossy, a little curled at the edges, dated on the back, June 1999. Which made no sense because the party supposedly never happened. And the boy in black? He was still there. Closer than in the video. No one acknowledged him. But there he was, arms stiff at his sides, mouth slightly open like he was about to speak or scream. And his eyes, I only noticed it on the photo, were completely black. No whites, just void. I brought the photo to my mom, didn't say a word, just handed it over. She stared at it for a long time, didn't blink, then said, "I've never seen this. That's our yard. That's your shirt. But that's not your 6th birthday. We canceled it. You were at the hospital that day. You had a fever of 104. I pulled out my phone and opened the calendar app, scrolled back to July 1999. My 6th birthday was on a Thursday. There was no record of a hospital visit, no notes, no family messages. Then again, it was 1999, before iPhones, before cloud backups, before memory got outsourced. That night, I checked the VCR again. The tape was gone, but something else had been left in its place. Another VHS. No label. I inserted it. Blue screen, then static. Then footage. This time, our living room. From above. Like a security camera. Same sagging couch. Same ugly carpet. Same lamp with the melted base. Except I'd never seen this angle before. We'd never had a camera like that. The timestamp in the corner read 4:26:17 a.m. Date December 18, 1999. It played for 2 minutes. Nothing happened. Empty room. Then I walked in. 6-year-old me, dragging a blanket, eyes open but wrong, unfocused. I sat on the floor, faced the TV, turned it on, static. Then I whispered something, over and over. I couldn't make it out. I rewound, played it again. Still couldn't hear. So I connected the VCR to my laptop's capture card and boosted the audio. Ran filters, enhanced, and heard the whisper. He's not real. He's not real. He's not real. Over and over. Then my younger self turned toward the camera, as if I knew it was there, and grinned, wide, way too wide. Then the screen cut to black. When I ejected the tape, there was a note inside the VCR, folded, typed, plain white paper. It read, "You shouldn't have rewound. This version is unstable. Burn everything, especially the next one." There was a second tape in the box now, black shell, faint red lettering on the edge. This one didn't say "Do not watch." It said, "You already did." To be continued in Part 3. Part 3. You already did. I didn't want to play the tape, but I also couldn't not. It felt like gravity, like the tape was pulling me toward it. The words on the label, "You already did," weren't just a warning. They were a confirmation. Then they were right. I had already watched. I just didn't remember when. I put it in the VCR. This time there was no blue screen, no static. It started immediately. Footage of me, now, sitting in my apartment. Same hoodie, same desk, same lamp on the shelf behind me. Only this wasn't security footage. It was cinematic. Smooth pans, perfect focus. Audio clean as a studio mic. I wasn't talking, I was typing on a laptop I didn't own. Then a voice off-screen said, "You're almost there, Liam. Just don't turn around." My on-screen self froze, then did exactly that. Turned, looked directly into the camera, into me, and whispered, "Burn this tape." Then the screen went black. I ejected the tape, put it on the counter, stared at it. I couldn't burn it, not yet. I needed to know what was going on. I needed someone else to see this, to confirm I wasn't losing it. So I called Paul, my oldest friend, always skeptical, always brutally honest. He came over with pizza and his usual sarcasm. "You summon me and there's a VCR on your coffee table? What's next? Pogs?" I didn't laugh, just told him to watch. Put the tape back in, pressed play. But this time it didn't show my apartment. It showed his, Paul's apartment from last week. Him sitting on the floor, scrolling through his phone. And in the background, something moved. Behind his couch, a shape, thin, slow. It stepped into the light just enough to show a featureless face. No eyes, no mouth. Just a smooth, pale surface where a face should be. Paul stared. Pale, frozen. "That's not funny," he said. "You filmed this?" "No." "How did you?" "I didn't." The figure on the screen raised one hand, held up a tape, same handwriting. "You already did." Then the tape in the player sputtered, ejected itself. Smoke poured from the slot, not a lot, but enough to fill the room with the smell of burnt plastic. Paul grabbed the cord and yanked it from the wall. We both just stood there, staring. Then Paul, quiet. "How did it know my apartment?" That night, I checked the box again. Another photo was inside. This one printed in black and white. Me and Paul sitting on the couch, right now. Same shirts, same pizza box. But in the corner of the photo, behind the curtains, was that same pale figure, closer now, its hand pressed to the glass. I flicked the photo over. On the back in typewriter font, "Memory sync in progress. Host resistance detected. Prepare for overwrite. To be continued in Part 4. Part 4. Prepare for overwrite." Paul left around midnight. He didn't say much after the smoke. He just kept repeating the same sentence. I didn't let anyone film me. He took the tape with him. Said he was going to deal with it. But something about the way he said it made me nervous. Like he didn't mean destroy it. Like he meant hide it or protect it. After he left, I checked the photo again, the black and white one. Me and Paul on the couch. The figure at the window. I zoomed in. Not just closer, clearer. Still no face, but now I could make out fingers pressed to the glass. They weren't human. Too long, too jointed, like they bent in both directions, like something trying to act human and getting it just slightly wrong. I didn't sleep. I left all the lights on. The box sat untouched on the table. But I could feel it, alive, like it was breathing. At 3:14 a.m., the power went out. Just the apartment, not the whole building, not the street, just me. And from the dark, I heard the faint click of a VCR loading. Even though it was unplugged, even though the tape was gone, I grabbed my flashlight. It flickered, died. My phone screen wouldn't turn on either. Then, from the direction of the living room, a glow. Cold, blue. I stepped slowly out of the bedroom, and there it was, the screen. On, playing, even with no tape, even with no power. Same static crackle. Then a frame of video. The camera was inside my apartment, facing the hallway. Footage of me from seconds ago, holding the flashlight, looking confused. Then my on-screen self turned around and stared straight into the camera, into me, and mouthed, "Behind you." I turned. Nothing. Just dark hallway. But the tape, the screen, kept playing. Now I was walking forward, toward the camera, closer, closer, until my on-screen face filled the frame. Then something else appeared behind me. A hand, pale, resting gently on my shoulder. Then the screen cut to black, and the words, "Overwrite begins now." I woke up on the floor, morning sunlight bleeding through the blinds, the TV off, the VCR still unplugged, but next to it, a new tape. Label, Copy 1.0 Liam, and a post-it note stuck to the front. "This is not for you. This is your replacement." I didn't touch it. Instead, I checked my phone. Power was back, battery full. But all my recent photos, gone. Camera roll empty, except one image. A still from the footage last night. My face, expressionless. And in the corner, the faint reflection of the pale figure, this time wearing my hoodie. I ran to the bathroom, stared at the mirror. And something about my face felt off, too symmetrical, too smooth. Then I blinked, and my reflection didn't. It just smiled. To be continued in Part 5. Part 5. Copy 1. I stared at the reflection for a long time. It blinked eventually. Too late. Too calculated. Like it noticed me noticing and tried to catch up. My fingers tingled. My skin felt less mine. I backed away from the mirror. The reflection didn't move. It just smiled wider. Then, without blinking, it mouthed a single word. Play. The tape, Copy 1.0 Liam, was still on the table. I didn't want to touch it, didn't want to be near it. But part of me, the part that had watched the first tape, that had rewound, that had ignored every warning, needed to know. I picked it up. The label had changed. Somehow. Now it read, "Confirmed identity match, Liam 0. Underneath that, in red marker, "You are obsolete." I pressed play. The screen flickered, then showed my life. A compilation, different scenes, different ages, different angles. My 4th birthday, a camping trip I forgot about, a Christmas morning from 2002, all from external perspectives. Like someone had been watching, recording, my entire life from the outside. The camera never moved, never wavered, just observed, and always in the background the same thing, the pale figure, never closer, never farther, just there, watching, patient in every shot. Then the scene changed. Footage of me now, sitting on my couch, holding the tape, watching this. Only this version of me didn't look scared. He looked calm, accepting. And the pale figure stood behind him, hand on his shoulder. The caption beneath the footage, Liam 1.0 stabilized. Then audio, my own voice, speaking flatly. The overwrite is complete. This one will fade. Begin playback of next subject. The screen went black. I ejected the tape and found a second note inside the VCR. Do not resist. It only delays the transfer. You are not the original. You never were. I ran outside, needed air, needed noise, something real, something unpredictable. Birds, cars, wind, anything. I stood on the sidewalk, breathing heavy. Then I saw it. Across the street, standing still, hands at its sides. My reflection, but not in glass, in flesh. Identical face, same hoodie, same jeans, and a camcorder in its hand, filming me. I stepped back. It tilted its head, raised one hand, not to wave but to point, at my apartment window. I turned and saw the pale figure inside, looking out, wearing my face. To be continued in part 6. Part 6, the backup loop. I didn't go back inside, not right away. I stood there for almost an hour, watching the thing in the window, the copy, the reflection, whatever it was, watching me. It never moved, never blinked, just stared while the one across the street, the one with the camcorder, slowly lowered its hand and walked away. Eventually, I went to Paul's. He didn't answer his phone, so I just drove, banged on the door until he opened it. He looked worse than before, pale, unshaven, eyes sunken, and in his hands the same tape I gave him 2 days ago. You already did, only now it looked different, worn, scorched, the tape inside half melted. It won't die, he whispered. I burned it, smashed it. It just keeps coming back. He opened a drawer. Inside were 4 other versions of the same tape, all slightly different, all with variations of the same label. You already did. You will again. Copy 1.1 Paul, stabilized subject Paul 0, and one final tape, wrapped in plastic. Label entry, Liam Paul sync required. We watched it together. It started with static, then a timestamp, 7/23/2024, 3:14. The footage showed both of us, standing in Paul's kitchen, exactly like we were now. Only the camera angle was from inside the microwave. Neither of us looked surprised. We were just talking. Normally, but no audio, just subtitles. Paul 1, it always ends here. Liam 1, unless we finish the backup. Paul 1, you brought it? Liam 1, I am it. Then Paul reached forward and touched my shoulder. The screen flickered. Jump cut. New scene. Same kitchen. Same timestamp. Only now, both of us were gone. And sitting in our places, 2 pale copies. Identical. Still. Blank. The subtitle, overwrite complete. Beginning new loop. Paul hit stop. We didn't say anything for a while. Then he whispered, how many loops do you think it's been? I shook my head. We'd never know. He opened the drawer again, handed me one final tape, still sealed. Label, "If you see this, run." Then in smaller text, "You've already let it in." I asked where he found it. He said it was in his mailbox this morning. No postage, just waiting. I asked if he was going to play it. He shook his head. That's the point. It wants to be watched. Every time we do, it gets closer. Every time we rewind, we surrender more. We agreed to destroy all the tapes, every copy, every variation, burn them, crush them, erase the loop. We made a plan. Tomorrow, together. That night, I went home. The copy was no longer in the window. The apartment felt hollow, lighter. But on the table, where I had left the tapes, there was something new. Not a cassette, a DVD. White disc, Sharpie label. Final cut, Liam only. Underlined twice. I held it for a long time. Didn't play it. But on the back of the disc, etched so faintly I could barely see it, were the words, "This is where you wake up." To be continued in Part 7. Part 7, Final cut. I didn't play the DVD that night. I didn't sleep either. Just stared at the disc. Its white surface. The words written in shaky black marker. Final cut, Liam only. And those faintly etched words on the back. This is where you wake up. At 3:14 a.m., the TV turned itself on. No source, just white. Bright enough to cast shadows across the walls. I turned my head to the disc on the table, still untouched, still waiting. Something told me the disc was already playing, even before I inserted it. I cracked, slipped it into my laptop. It auto-loaded. No menu, just started. A black screen. Then white text. Version Liam 2.4. Backup status pending. Live render enabled. Then the feed appeared. Grainy. Security cam view of me. In real time. Same room, same clothes. Only I wasn't moving. Just sitting at the table. Staring at the screen. Behind me, something stood. Just out of frame. A suggestion of shape. A distortion. And the subtitle read, "You see it now, don't you? You've always seen it, but never all at once." The figure stepped forward, blurred, flickering. Its form refused to lock. Sometimes it looked like Paul, sometimes like me, sometimes like no one. It leaned in and whispered, "There is no original, only the last version to remember." The screen glitched, audio warped. Then a new video loaded. Birthday party footage, again. But different now. Everyone older, faces stretched, mouths open, but no sound. They moved in reverse, like they were pulled out of memory. And at the center of it all, me, but not 6-year-old me, current me, sitting at the cake, expressionless as the candles lit themselves, one by one. 7 flames, then 8, then 9. Endless, and the banner read, "Happy reinitialization, Liam." I ejected the disc, shaking. It was warm to the touch, like a living thing. I put it in the microwave, turned it on, watched the sparks fly, watched the disc melt and twist and blacken. But as it burned, the screen lit up again. This time the words, "Delete failed, backup active," and below it, a countdown. 03:04. Then everything went dark. I heard my phone buzz. One new notification from the Photos app. New memory created. set to soft piano music. Photos of me and Paul, me and my family, me alone. Only, I wasn't looking at the camera in any of them. Every shot, my eyes were locked on something just off frame. Terrified, frozen. And in the final photo, the mirror shot from my bathroom, the pale figure now had a face. My face, smiling. I checked the mirror. It smiled again, before I did. To be continued in Part 8. Part 8, the last playback. The mirror wouldn't stop smiling, even after I stepped away, even after I left the room. It just smiled. And behind that reflection, in the glass, not the room, I saw movement, a door opening, but there was no door behind me. I didn't go to work, didn't eat, didn't sleep. I sat on the floor, surrounded by blank tapes. Dozens, some labeled, some not. All of them mine. Each with a variation of my name. Liam 1.2. Copy, Liam fail. Obsolete, Liam backup. I didn't remember recording any of them, but I recognized the handwriting. It was mine. The loops weren't just replays. They were versions. And mine was about to end. The TV came on again at 3:14 a.m. No disc, no tape, just light and a voice. Mine, but not. A little slower, a little older. Liam, this is your final opportunity. You've watched enough. Now record. The VCR clicked, loaded on its own. A new tape appeared on the table. Black, untouched, label recording Liam. No subtitle, no threat, just a single blinking red dot on the label, like it was already taping. I picked it up, held it for a while. Then, without meaning to, I spoke aloud. What happens if I don't? And the TV answered, then you are not saved. You are saved only by becoming memory. The screen changed. A live feed, not of my apartment, of Paul's. He was asleep, or something like it. And standing at the foot of his bed, the copy. Same face, same hoodie. Only this one looked back at the camera and said, I'm ready. The screen flickered. Then it was me again, 6 years old, blowing out candles. Only now, I didn't look confused. I looked determined, like I knew. And behind me, all the copies, lined up, watching, smiling, waiting, as if the party wasn't for me, as if it was my retirement, my deletion, the final loop. Then, in the center of the screen, white text, final playback confirmed. Export to archive, YN. I didn't touch anything. The screen blinked again, and a new line appeared. You already did. I walked outside, middle of the night, the sky a little too clear, the street too quiet, and across the road, in every window, in every dark pane of glass, my reflection was waiting. But not one, hundreds, thousands, all in sync, all smiling, all whispering, welcome to the archive. When I got home, my apartment was different. Cleaner. Colder. On the desk, a single envelope. Expression blank. No smile, no anger, just acknowledgement. Then it blinked once and turned off, like a screen. The TV shut down, the lights dimmed, and the VCR clicked. ejected the final tape. Label burned into the plastic. File saved. Liam Archive 000. No longer recording. No longer being recorded. I am only playback. Only tape. And you're still watching.